Hi, thank you for listening to Intuition Your First Sense. This is Vicky. I am a professional life coach and intuitive development teacher, and I am having a challenging time with the energy that is flying around now, and I thought you might be too. Even though I understand the premise and I practice and I live in this world of energy and intuition, it can still knock me on my choochie boomy quite often, actually. It's just knowing what it is and how I am affected by the swirling tide of continuous process of energy that helps me to stay upright and to be appreciative even of the process. So this last week, much like the rest of you, I've been experiencing the turmoil of the news, the supporting of others, the still confusion over what is COVID and what isn't it, and the different changes that are going on. And it's been a big tidal wave of frequencies, from elation and the fact that we're still in this and people are still actually being pretty kind, to, man, this is just hard and I'm not sure how much more tolerance I have for it. And I think this is common for anyone going through this process right now and where we are in the world, not simply in the States where I am. So last week I was feeling this just fluctuation in this high pressure of energy, and I ended up sitting down and writing out a post that I put up on social media, and it ended up giving me a better response to any post that I've ever put out there, at least the ones I've paid attention to. And I felt like, wow, this really touched people. And I thought, well, there's probably some people on the podcast, listening to the podcast, who aren't following me on social media or who aren't on my newsletter list and who haven't seen this. And I thought I wanted to share that as well, because the number of emails I got and the comments were staggering. It actually took me the better part of a week to work through the responses. And I thought, wow, if it touched people that much, then why not put it in audio form as well and see if it can help? Because I think it really does help us to empathize with others and to know that people are going through something similar, even if we may not see them on a day-to-day basis. So here is my post from last week and what I was feeling in the energy and how the emotions were really high, actually. It's interesting in frequency of emotion. Sometimes you can think of an emotion being high and we think elation, joy, excitement. But emotions can be high and have a dense frequency to them. So last week for me, it was sadness. There was so much sadness, and I decided to capture that. So that's what this is. I'm sad. I'm sad that people are hurting other people. I'm sad that we as humans haven't evolved to a place where we can appreciate the diversity, complexity, and gifts of others. I'm sad that while truth is happening, and it needs to happen, people are dragging others down with them instead of building them up. I'm sad that old traumas are surfacing, even while knowing that this is how healing happens. I'm sad that we are divided by disease and the dis-ease of fear getting in the way of acceptance. I'm sad that people I have known will no longer be in my life because the rift between who they are presenting and who I'm willing to connect with is growing bigger and bigger. And if I'm being authentic, I won't be able to sustain a relationship with them given the current beliefs that they are expressing. I'm sad that I love teaching, but don't have all the information nor the energy to teach those who just don't want to learn. I'm sad that people don't want to learn. I'm sad that equality does not exist, and that doesn't matter to some of the same members of the human race that I belong to. I'm sad that the ones that don't want to learn or change don't know that growing brings so much joy to one's life. And once the experience of uncomfortable passes, it is beautiful. I'm sad that being uncomfortable seems so scary to some that they'd rather remain in their fierce opinions rather than saying they'd like to learn why someone would be hurt, why their words are painful to others, why it has to continue. I'm sad that we've gotten so divided that the idea of seeing the soul of another seems to be too much work for some. I'm sad that my version of all people being inherently good within is proving to be misaligned with some beings of our planet. I'm sad I didn't know I held white privilege. I'm sad I still do simply by being white. I'm sad that children are witnessing this and losing some of their innocence because adults are acting worse than a no-nap, haven't eaten, sitting in a dirty diaper toddler. I'm sad that I can't fix the pain, racism, bigotry, judgment in a session and give insight into the situation. That I can't use the magic wand of guidance from spirit and a great strategic plan to heal all of this. I am so sad about this. I'm sad that name-calling, lynching, bigotry, racism, ignorance, and bullying is still a thing for supposedly the most evolved species on the planet. I'm sad that all the beautiful colors, gender identities, backgrounds, races, sexual orientations, cultures, and histories aren't honored and respected. Diversity is surely what was intended to be the finest example of love on this big, amazing planet that we inhabit. I'm sad that my fellow humans are hurting. I'm simply sad. Maybe you are too for some of these reasons, and maybe you are too for reasons that are yours. It's okay to be sad. It's even expected during times of great challenges. It is a valid emotion. Be sad. Allow yourself to grieve. I am. I hope you will too. We can be sad and in action. We can be sad and affect change. We can be sad and love at the same time. Be sad, then be love. Be kind. Be a good human. Be a better human. Be. So that was the post that evoked emotion in others, that some said helped them to release the pressure cooker that had been building up. And for others, the feedback I found fascinating was that they had the impression that I didn't get sad, that I didn't have these other waves of emotion, that had somehow, and this one kind of cracks me up, that I had evolved to the place where I am always in a state of enlightened appreciation. Oh, so not true. Because I don't think we can live there. I feel like we have to experience all of these roller coasters that come with being a beautiful human. Being spiritual, being intuitive, does not give you a free pass to pain, to hurting. And I'm so glad, because I'm grateful that I'm able to identify these emotions. I'm grateful that I'm able to name what I'm feeling. I don't have to claim it and sit in it for days and days on end. But if you can't identify it, how are you going to love it into healing? So as the energy ebbs and flows, and we will be in constant state of growth, we are expanding exponentially, universally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, conceptually, humanly. We are expanding on every stinking level. So just like when kids grow and their knees hurt because they grow too fast, we've got growing pains, my friends. And we are going to keep experiencing these. How to dissipate them and how to be in appreciation of the process is to look to the opportunity, is to be able to connect what you're feeling with a trust in the universe. And I get that the trust in the universe can be a little tricky at times. So what I felt I wanted to do, and shortly after I wrote the I'm Sad post, I knew I would be following it up with one, but I didn't want to rush it. I wanted it to come naturally, because one of the things I see people do is rush through their emotions. And I used to be that person. I would totally deny that something was hurting me, or if I was being hurt by something, and actually pretend that it didn't bother me. And I missed some gold in all those times of feeling and of not asking, what was the premise? Like, what could I learn from it? So I decided that I was going to follow it up with another post that will go out with this at the same time as this podcast, and be an example not only of how I've learned to shift my energy and how I work with my clients, and identifying what's going on, where would you like to be, how could we shift it, but I just thought it would be a fun process to identify what I am grateful for. So when we return, I will do that. Thank you for coming back. And thank you for experiencing this time of great growth through the Black Lives Matter, through Corona, through the political system that's shifting, through all of us waking up and realizing that we have to use our voices. We have to speak up. We don't have to yell. We don't have to be in somebody's face, but we do need to use these voices. And any of you, like myself, who just weren't aware of the white privilege or the opportunities that were presented, that maybe we didn't understand because we didn't know what systemic racism meant. Maybe we just didn't look outside of ourselves. Maybe it wasn't about racism. Maybe we just didn't look outside ourselves and see that someone might be going through a difficult time, and that we can empathize, but we can't completely know what that process was for them. This is a time where I think it feels good to use your voice. I've always felt like, even in those times where it might not have been the wisest to use my mouth, I was also not going to feel good about myself in allowing someone else to be bullied or judged or anything like that. So it feels good to use your voice. It feels good to help people. And I think we have an obligation to our whole society, because what you contribute goes out. It ripples out. Energy continues to move and transforms. So one of the transformations that you can do in your own life is, when you're feeling the sadness, frustration, anger, any of the other, those emotions, feel them, find out what the message is, and then ask, how can I shift? How can I shift up? Maybe you go up one level. Maybe you ask, how can I get to neutrality? And then you work your way to gratitude and joy and all of that. Just know it's always a process, right? We're always in and out of these emotions constantly. I think it's one of the fun parts about being human and having the depth that we're capable of if we're willing to do the work. So, my grateful list is I am grateful for people. I am grateful for the resilience of people. I'm grateful adversity can bring out the best in people. I'm grateful I am learning about all people. I'm grateful I'm willing to learn, I'm able to learn, and I'm open to new concepts. I'm so grateful for those who are teaching by living their lives. They have no obligation to teach, and yet they do if we are willing to learn. I am grateful for this time of COVID-19 and the gifts it has brought people. I'm grateful to those who have passed and their soul continues to support us. I'm grateful for the families that were brought together and have a new view of what life could look like when they connect. I'm grateful for the changes that I'm seeing in myself and my clients and their businesses. And I'm grateful people are learning what their strengths are when they thought they were weak. I'm grateful to the clients that require me to show up in my best self for every session. On the days I don't feel I can do it for me, I will do it for them. I'm so grateful for music. I'm grateful for the rhythm, for the healing, for the humor, for the upbeat, for show tunes, and yes, for country music. I know there are some that don't appreciate it, but I love a good story. I'm grateful for those who won't be silenced any longer and for their bravery. I'm grateful to the bravery of those before us who would not be silent either. I am grateful for a mother who would not tolerate racism in my father, and therefore, unbeknownst to myself at the time, modeled what acceptance looks like. I am so grateful for humor. I'm grateful for dark humor. This allows us to be playful about the hard stuff, and that dissipates energy, and that opens us up to healing. I am so grateful to my friends and clients of color who allowed me to ask them questions when they had enough to deal with about how I can be a better ally and how I can be a better person and how I can be a better friend to them. I'm grateful for my forests and mountains where I can recharge and appreciate the beauty of the universe and all Mother Nature has to offer in her example of resiliency. I'm grateful for the patterns of exercise I began years ago, and while it has shifted from a weight loss focus to a building strength one, I'm grateful for the growth in self to be able to know the difference. I'm grateful for the friends who reach out to see how I am doing and remind me that I have a soul family available. I'm so grateful for my relationship with Spirit, the angels, the guides, soul, Big Kahuna, and the trust I have that we really are all in process and going to be better off for this time of hurt, challenge, and even the fear. Because in recognizing the fear, we learn where our strengths are. I'm grateful to my house bunny, who is such a funny little guy and brings to me the humor when I'm feeling a bit blue and troubled by the weight of others' sadness. I am grateful for the ocean for reflecting to me that greatness exists in all of us if we are willing to touch the horizons. I'm so grateful for a loving partner who keeps the humor, affection, and realness flowing in our relationship and doesn't let me bail on myself and knows when space is appreciated. I'm so grateful to the children I raised and to the daughter who often reflects back to me that when I didn't even know I was teaching, I was teaching. I'm grateful for coffee and for cheese. Mostly coffee, but cheese too. I'm grateful for social media and the ability to connect. For memes, funny videos, and quotes that go on for days. I'm grateful for the darkness, and I'm grateful for the light, for we must have one to appreciate the other. I'm grateful to all my subscribers and listeners who mean so much to me and share this great, big, amazing ball of blue and green earth. I'm grateful for you. I may not know you directly. I may not know of you, but I know you exist. And to me, that means that there is possibility in everything. Because if there's a possibility that I haven't met every person on earth, there is great possibility in our growth, in our potential, and the probability that we evolve as a human species to a place that involves our soul, our connection to other beings, and to an expansiveness that is beyond the comprehension of our human brains. So I thank you for listening, if you've hung around this long, and for being a part of this experience with me, and for allowing me to bring a practice that has brought grounding and has helped others, and I intend for it to help anyone who's within listening range. I hope you have a week that includes what you are grateful for, and that perhaps you begin your day with that, and then perhaps you end your evening with it as you're drifting off to sleep, listing 3 things that you are grateful for. For as we go to sleep is how we wake up. So thank you, and I will see you in the next episode.